now back to Insights on Leadership in Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Welcome back to Insights on Leadership in Life. I'm your host, Roberta Pickett, here with Martha Perez, John Stetler, and Jason Mulford. And we're talking about the impact that families have on leadership and success. We're just starting to talk about toads, but
no,
squishy
toes.
green toads between your toes. But seriously, we were starting to talk about families and how, in many ways, it's being an employer is a lot like being a parent in some ways. Mm-hmm. There's differences too, obviously, but of wanting to teach your employees or your children to do things right and also to do the right things. But what else? I mean, there's a lot of different types of families, and what about the impact that families have?
It's hard. It's very, very hard because I had so many kids, and I had to discipline my time to be able to go to some of the games and let them see me, hi, like I was there, and then disappear, and they thought I was there. I would run to another game, and make sure they saw
for the
me,
other one.
and then you just have to play this game to make them believe you can be everywhere.
But it's another part of what you were saying earlier about discipline, right? I mean, if you hadn't been disciplined in other things, you might not have been able to be disciplined as you were with your kids.
And now my kids tell me, how did you do it, Mom? Huh? I said, don't ask me, I don't know. I was young and dumb. And I was learning. I care. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter whether you're smart or dumb, or as long as you show somebody you care and you love them and you want to be there for them, whether they're your employees, whether your friend, whether your children, your stepchildren or grandchildren.
Doesn't matter,
but there's a price to pay, because I lost a lot of my time in my family,
but was
in my
worth it?
business. It was totally worth it. I just wish I would have had more time for my kids.
Yeah, well, I think we all wish that, but, on the other hand, part of, I think, growing up is learning resiliency. And John was sharing an article earlier about what resiliency is, and I think that's part of what kids learn, that you can't be there all the time, but that doesn't mean you don't love them. That doesn't mean you aren't there for them. What else did that article say?
Oh, the article on resilience, it gave a number of things that you could do to help kids have bounce back. That's what I term resilience, the ability to pick yourself, dust yourself off, and go back and do it again.
Yeah, because you deal with a lot of kids who haven't had an easy time of it.
Yeah. That particular article cited a number of things, but the one piece that I picked up was they talked about three significant things that affected kids being more successful under some adverse conditions. And one of them was to have a strong community. It takes a village to raise a kid. Well, that's a piece of it. They have to have and recognize a strong community. They need a good, strong role model, something who can give them the guidance, and they have to have the belief in themselves that they can bounce back and they can persevere, and things will be better.
When you work with somebody who's maybe had, abuse and neglect in their life, how do you convince them that things will be better? How do you help them to get to that place where they believe that they can succeed and get beyond it?
Well, to put it really simply, I think that you have to show them that what they are having to tackle is as big as an elephant. But if you were going to eat the elephant, how would you do it? You would do it one bite at a time. So we're going to take the problem that you're facing and break it down into bite-sized pieces. And when we're successful with bite number 1, you'll have more optimism about bite number 2, to 3, to 4, to however many it is. And I think there are some specific areas that we can identify that they may be having trouble with. The Search Institute, which is a outfit out of back east, came up with 40 things that kids optimally would have or experience in order to fully develop their potential and lead productive, non-delinquent lives. I mean, that we're going back to the delinquency side of my business.
Right.
But we use it for everybody now because everybody has the same 40 issues to wrestle with.
Right, because it doesn't matter whether you come from a rich family or a poor family,
Butcher, baker,
it
candlestick
doesn't
maker,
matter
makes
what
no
your
difference.
background is, you can still fall into the negative side of things and
if your
the
family
positive.
is not in a position to help you get through those, you're going to have problems. If you find somebody who can help you go through and make sure that you accomplish those tasks successfully, you have a better chance of making it. And so it's the family that gets back to what is family? Family can be foster family. Family can be guardians, adoptives, real family, relatives, the neighbor.
So it's not just parents.
How many times did you talk to kids or people and say, who was important in your life? And they say, well, I remember the guy down the street. He let me come over and cut his grass, and he spent some time with me, and he was like a father.
Yeah,
Bingo, there's family.
yeah.
My grandfather always said, money is not everything that you can give to somebody. When you give somebody your time, that's more valuable than all the money in the world you can give them. Absolutely. And it's true. It really is true, because making time to be with somebody and to show a little compassion or a little love or just have a moment. Yes,
Yeah,
you know.
that you are interested in what
Yes.
they're doing. or what they're
Yes.
That's what the volunteers do who are working with the kids. The CASA volunteers are people who take that time and express that interest and provide that opportunity to those kids.
To be a role model.
They're a
for
role model.
child.
They are a caring, a non-authoritarian, non-parental, caring
and
person.
non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental.
I think that is
Oops,
what
I
I've seen
goofed.
too. Well, I'm talking about CASA now.
Then I did it wrong then.
Well, sometimes I think it's important for
No,
kids to...
non-judgmental is not non-valued.
That's true.
Non-judgmental is not beating you up for what you did wrong last time.
No. It's discipline, telling them, I always told them, if I'm going to punish you, don't think you're going to get away with it. You are going to be punished, and whatever it is, I will keep my word. So don't try to, persuade me that you will do it right this time. No, you still have to do the dishes for a week. I mean, little
Consequences
things
for
like
the
that.
consequences, yeah.
Consequences for their actions, And I used to tell them, if I do this to you and I loved you, can you imagine what somebody's going to do to you that don't love you? So,
This hurts me more than it hurts.
yes, right. I did that. My kids can tell you. Whew.
So, Jason, what about like the military? And you think about the family of the military families, and out in the field, out on a mission or wherever you are. What is it that makes it so powerful? The family, the military family.
Well, it's like a brotherhood, and males and females are alike in that environment. One of the biggest things is a lot of the jobs are life and death. So you have a heightened alert, and you're depending on other people to be one element in a cog to be able to accomplish the mission. And if one person doesn't do their position, everyone could die.
So it may be back here in this chain of events, but if that doesn't get done, that domino effect
One
affects
person
everyone.
doesn't set up the communication line properly, and the guy in the very front, the infantryman, calls for fire for artillery, and the line's severed, and the communication doesn't ever get there, the fire doesn't happen, and then they all die.
So the the idea there that I'm picking up from you is the family, the criticality of really each person holding their own responsibility and at the same time supporting each other 100% to accomplish whatever you need to do.
One of the things is in the military is that you can delegate, but you can delegate authority, but you can't delegate responsibility. So someone's always responsible out of a group of military. If you have 5 guys, 1 guy's in charge. If there's 2 guys, 1 guy's senior. Been in longer, you're in charge. So you have positional.
Oh my God, I've been running a military in my business.
And you didn't even know.
It's one of the leaders, it's a technique that they've used.
Yeah.
And then they install like 14 leadership traits, and they give you, you'd have to really work at it.
It's all about discipline, I think, you know, in how you teach somebody to do something and they learn, you know, to do the best job possible.
I used to say that discipline is not a 4-letter word. You know, it's about disciple. It comes from the same word as disciple, which means to follow, and to follow a set pattern and to understand what you're working towards and to do it right. So I think that there's a powerful thing there. You're right about discipline. I think in a lot of areas today we don't have enough discipline in my
From childhood,
opinion.
you
Yeah.
have to teach children to be disciplined. I notice nowadays, you know, the discipline in parents with children is totally different than when I raised my children.
Absolutely.
But,
Well, we're going to wrap this segment up and then come back and talk about, we talked about leadership, let's talk about success in family. Come back, we'll be back soon.